Welcome to the Milo Experience.
Hello, everybody, one and all. Welcome to the Milo Podcast. Bing bong, bing bong. Yes. Yeah, it's episode number 48. That's a 4 with an 8 following it. That's the numeral. That's what episode number we are up to, people. Number 48. Do you feel me? Can you feel it in the air? I feel it's like such a momentous occasion. Finally, the clock has struck 12 and struck 12 4 times in a row. That makes a total of 48. And that's what we're doing right here, right now on the Milo Podcast. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. So much for joining me today on today's episode. And we've been on a very long adventure together. It's been long and fun and arduous. And there's been ups and downs. It's been thrilling. It's been, there's been boring parts. There's been exciting parts. There's been parts where we didn't know if we were going to make it. But in the end, we always make it. We always make it. The protagonist never goes down. Don't you know that? Don't you know that by now, that the protagonist never goes down, okay? Unless it's like some anti-hero Terminator 2 Judgment Day type shit where, Arnie is clearly the hero. The Terminator number 2 is clearly the hero, but then in the end, spoiler alert, he goes down to Chinatown into the fucking molten lava, which melts him down, bro. He goes all the way down to the fucking 7th circle of hell, where there's nothing but molten steel and burning debris that will eliminate you and burn you down into like a magma or whatever, like boiling hot plasma. That's what we are at the essential nature of our cores. That's what we are, just burning plasma, screaming inside, burning like white hot coals, trying to get out, trying to release, yearning for release of this stored potential energy that is just over the years, over the decades, just built up, and generationally, if you want to dissect it, over the millennia, ancestors had this boiling rage inside them, especially the female ones, man. People don't know about female anger, because female anger be fucking strong, bro, and it's repressed. Don't you know that? Don't you know that about females and anger? Is that their anger is repressed, and now I'm like spiritually adhering myself. I've like been hitched up to like the spiritual tow truck. My soul has been hitched up to the spiritual tow truck of women's rage, and I'm like coming out as an ally now. I'm not coming out. I always was an ally. I've always had an allegiance to women. I always loved them, if you know what I mean. Like, if you know what I mean by the word love. I want you to picture something that you love, right? Picture the thing that you love. I'll give you a second to think about it. Just think about nothing but love. Something that you love purely. Something that you love without hate, okay? That's the way that you love this thing. That's the way, and just picture that. Now, that is the way in which that I love women, okay? Because I love them so much, and I'm not even joking. And I love everything about our society that we live in. I like it all. It's just a melting pot out there. It's just, all the greatest ideas coming together in this like perfect storm of genius, culture, ideology, sex, race, and gender, and all that type of stuff. It's all just coming together, and it's coming to a point like we're marching on forward into the future, and we're going to conquer all of the, we're going to nail all of our goals. We're going to meet all of our sales targets. The boss is going to call us in after the weekend and be like, yo, Miles, you know that you fucking kicked it out the park, cunt. You've been fucking gaming this. How did you do it? Last week, your fucking results, you didn't hit a single KPI. Your game guarantees were through the floor. You blew all of the wages on all of the salary on on hours that we didn't need, on the staff that we didn't use, and all this other shit. That's what you were doing. You were fuck-assing around, driving this company into the ground. You were fuck-assing around in the ground, okay? But this week, you've just gone above and beyond. It looks like you're sailing off beyond the stratosphere. You punched a hole straight through the fucking ozone layer, and you escaping the bitch. You escaping the gravity fucking contraction of the planet with the way that you be selling and rebelling, and you become a true zealot for the overzealous occasions that we're doing in these sales meetings right now, because that's what this life is all about. It's all about pitches and bitches, right? I got to pitch a bitch a new idea, and here's an idea. How about we don't call women bitches? Because that would be misogynistic, and not to mention sexist and full of hatred. And today, we're all about love, because I've been thinking that, like, you can't always go against the grain, right? You can't always go against the grain. I don't care if it's barley, if it's wheat, if it's fucking corn, or if it's like seed, or, whatever the hell else, man. I don't really care, dude. If you be pressing cereal out of it or whatever the fuck you think you're doing, you don't always need to go against the grain. I don't care if it's chopped up timber, and I don't care, like, what type of fucking, context you want to put this shit in. Sometimes it's just nice to, mellow, man. Just relax. Just pipe down for like 5 seconds, you know what I'm saying, bro? And just like let things chill. Let things cool down so you don't overheat and become just like a sweaty, red-faced, huffing and puffing mass of angry, boiling energy inside of you, Sometimes you just got to release it. Sometimes you just got to let things, you just got to go with the flow, bro, Jump into the fucking pipes. You gotta run down the fucking water slide, right, bro? Or, just hit that waterfall. Sometimes life is a waterfall. Or wait, waterfall is kind of extreme. I'm trying to paint a picture of like a juxtaposition of a paradox here. So like, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes life is like a bath. Inside of your bathtub, it's not usually very rocky or whatever the fuck else, right? It's usually pretty smooth and pretty smooth sailing. It's pretty chill. You might be just relaxing there with a book. Got your hair wrapped up in a towel, probably a red glass of wine. You got one of those little pieces of wood that goes from like side to side of the bathtub, so you can rest your cheese platter on there, and you're just soaking in the suds, right? Soaking up the suds, bruh. That's what I used to do all the time when I was a baby. I used to just go in the bathtub and soak up the suds with my glass of wine and just fucking get lit wearing sunglasses in there, smoking a durry, and I'd just be fucking banging on the walls and jumping up and down and splish splash taking a bath, man. You know what I'm fucking saying, bruh? That's what it was like back in the day. But now, you can't even do that, because what you should do is go with the flow. That's what you need to do. And sometimes life is a bathtub. It's just mellow. It's just chilled out, and it's just easy and safe, and it's not challenging, right? It's the least challenging thing in the world is taking a bath. Like, what do? Turn on the tap and then get in the water? Like, how fucking difficult is that? But like, I suppose it is difficult. It's more, see, that's what life is. This is life, man. Life, that sounds like an easy task for you. But if you're 100 years old, you might want to ease that task up with like putting a handrail in, or some of those like sticky suction cap floor mat type things that stick to the floor so you don't slip over, you don't fall and break a hip and need a replacement or whatever the hell else. You know what I'm saying, bruh? That's what life is like. It's just nothing but extremes. And going to the bathtub and having a bath is one of the most extreme activities you can do if you're 50. Or I mean like 150, okay? I'm not 50 yet, but if you're approaching 50, then Godspeed, man, because that's got to be the most awful feeling in the world. You know what I'm saying, bro? Plenty of life left in you yet, I'm sure, but I'm just saying it's not the greatest fucking feeling in the world. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes life is like a bathtub and it's just easy, right? Unless you're 100. But other times, life is like white water rapids or a tsunami, okay? Those are the two most hardcore water phenomena I can think of that have flows involved with them. I suppose, like, there's hurricanes and torrential rain, and the rain be flowing, don't you fucking, you believe me, or don't you fucking know, what's that, you believe you me. Yeah, believe you me about the rain, right? Sometimes that water be fucking flowing. But like when I think of flows, I think of currents. And like when it comes to like torrential rain or hurricanes, I think like the rain is more falling, less of a flow and more of a air current that's blowing it around. It's like air current, an aerial current. You know what I mean, bro? It's like a currency in the air. So imagine that, but in the water. And that's what like a river is like. And you got to go white water rafting. White rapid water rafting when you go into the water and it's rapid and white and you're in a raft, okay? And there's rocks and you get tossed around and you get wet and you might get thrown to and fro and then you get splashed out of the fucking boat, out of the kayak or the raft or whatever. It's really more of a kayak or a canoe than a raft, right? When I think of a raft, I think of fucking like that Life of Pi guy when he was stuck on a raft with a tiger or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying, bro? That would have been some crazy ass shit, man. That would have been some crazy ass shit. But as I know that's not a true story, and if it was, I wish it was a true story because I would like that to happen to me. I'd like to think that one day, if I was running away from Jaws out in the ocean after my boat capsized, that I would be able to piece together some type of driftwood raft and have a pet tiger on there to protect me from the whatever the fuck else I need, like, I don't know, aliens that are coming out of the middle of the ocean, because that's where the aliens be hanging out in deep space. I mean, deep ocean space, okay? We haven't even charted the 7 seas yet, man. There might even be 8 of them for all we know. We just don't know. We don't know anything about the planet. But speaking of the sea, there's flows down there for sure. The water be flowing. There's like underwater currents. See, that's a different type of current. I know all about the currencies, man. I'll be teaching about the currencies now. There's aerial currents and there's fucking underwater currents, right? And there's also fruits called currants which you can eat. That's a thing too. But yeah. Life isn't always about fighting the rappers. Like, sometimes when it gets turbulent, right, and the water around you is bubbling and it's looking a bit rocky, you don't want to try and fucking splash upstream, man. You want to try to use that shit to your advantage, bro, to get you to a new location. You want to get the fuck out of there. You don't always be needing to fight against it, you know what I'm saying, bro? You can be fighting with it towards a common goal. It can help push you along to the place that you need to be, because maybe where you're at right now, stuck in this fucking little river, it ain't for you. Maybe it's not what, the power's intended for you, okay? Maybe that's not what the fucking fates have decided, all right? And by you fighting against that, all you're doing is prolonging your pain and keeping yourself in this eternal fucking limbo, this purgatory, where like your third eye is in slumber mode and no one can wake it the fuck up. And you can't even see yourself, and you can't see your ego from the trees or the massive rippling pecs or the wall of abs, right? You can't see the ego from that, because you're too absorbed in muscles and flesh and skin and bone, okay? And you can't even see that deep down inside of you is organs, a heart, liver, and kidneys, a stomach, and all that. And that's what's keeping you going. And don't even forget about the brain, because you can't forget about it. If you forget about the brain, that's like forgetting your own existence, because in reality, we all are just brains inside of skulls, right? That's the true sensory organ. People talking about the eyeballs and the skin for touching. Eyeballs for seeing, skin for touching, nose for smelling. What else is there? Ears for hearing, tongue for tasting. And how many senses was that? I don't know. That's enough though, right? That's enough to get you the idea. And you don't even know that there's probably extra sensory perception that we all got unlocked inside of our brains. I mean, people be talking about, locked up. It's probably locked in there because we don't have access to it. I mean, if we do, we don't really seem to realize it. Maybe we've got some crazy ass behind the scenes like Plato cave type shit happening or whatever. Was that Plato that had the cave? I think so. Yeah, I think that he had a cave. The cave where the guys were strapped there looking at the fucking wall and the shadows on it, you know? That's what our lives are like. So instead of fighting against the white water rapids, sometimes you should just like take that as a blessing and use the elements to your own advantage. You know what I'm saying, bro? Okay? Because you need to get the fuck out of there, and you need to be moving on to like Donkey Kong to another place, like a new location, a new adventure, a new era, a new chapter, okay? You got to open up that book, you got to throw the dart at the board, and you got to fucking climb that wall if you're so great, all right? Leap that fucking wall if you're so great to find out the greater, you know, you never know if you never go. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You never know if you never go. But all you can be certain of, there's one thing that you can know, is where you are at right now is not the right place. If you see the water rising, if you see, if you're fighting against the current, if you ain't going with the flow, man, you're going against the grain, bro. You know what I'm saying, bro? If you go against the flow, you're also going against the grain. So maybe you should just go with the grain, like the big sheep that you are, black sheep. Have you any wool, right? And then eat some grain like a bird, or like a sheep probably eats grain, like cow eat wheat or something, right? Cow eat grass, or a sheep. Probably these animals, herbivores, they be eating wheat and they be eating grain. So eat the grain, jump in the fucking white water fucking rapids, all right? And rapidly get your fucking ass out of there, because that ain't supposed to be where you're at right now. You're supposed to be somewhere else. You're supposed to be elsewhere, okay? And you got to find the new purpose, find a new location, set yourself up on the earth. It's something that's frustrating, but once you know it hurts and then you got the information, then you can just go through the perpetration of the infiltration, all right? And once you've done that, then you truly know what it's like to be reborn, bruh. I mean, the other thing is that we can't just be fucking treading water, right? We just can't be treading water. We can't be just sat there, stuck there in a riptide or whatever, like just getting carried out slowly away from our destination, away from our goals, without even realizing it. That's what it's like when you try to fight these things, because try as you might, sometimes you win the fight, but other times it ain't worth it, bruh. And if you're fighting against the rip and you don't know when to quit, then you're gonna feel the tip of Satan's cock up your backside, mister, because that's how you're gonna get fucked up and you're gonna ruin your life if you keep drowning with your head underneath the ocean, right? You know what I'm saying, dude? And so, we don't have time just be rooting around treading the water. Life is just a flash in the pan. Many things are a flash in the pan, like when you throw snags in the pan and you accidentally light the oil on fire, or you're cooking some shit and it gets all fucked up in the pan, the pan flashes, right? Or if you take the pan to a disco and throw it into the strobe light, or take a photo of the pan with a big ass fucking one of those big cameras that got a big flash on it, then the pan gonna flash, bruh. Oh, believe you me, the pan gonna flash, bruh, okay? Life is just a flash in the pan, and so is creativity, man. It's so fleeting. Everything about our existence is fleeting, and I feel like we just need to get organized into squadrons instead, because these fleets aren't working, and we need to go and patrol some new landscapes and find a new horizon, a new dawn, some might say, okay? Because we need to work our way towards a common goal, and that common goal just needs to be calibrated between yourself and, the spirits that be, the powers that be. It's got to be between you. Only you know yourself better than other people, right? Other people can see certain things about you, but they can't look inside. But the other thing is that other people, they get a glimpse of what's inside because they see the flash inside of your pan. And then once you finish greasing up the pan, it becomes even flashier. And so if you've got a chrome pan, then it's super flashy, right? And so creativity, it comes and goes just like life. And life comes and goes. One day we're all going to be dead. Everyone listening to this podcast will die. And I'm thankful for that, because if life continued the way it does forever, wouldn't that be just absolutely fucking torturous? It'd be most fucking worst fate that I can possibly think of. Be like Chakan the Forever Man, just forced to look death in the face and be like, man, take me please. And he's just like, no. You're gonna sit here. You're gonna be forced to witness horrors beyond your own fucking comprehension as the time just keeps going forward like a anti-arc arrow, just going forwards, never going backwards, right? And everything's just fleeting, and it's just a flash, and it's just a flash in the pan, like a twinkle twinkle little star out in the sky, or like a meteorite that zips across the sky and then suddenly explodes or disappears into nothingness. That's what our lives are like, and that's what creativity is like. You don't always have the energy, right? Don't always have the energy to do the thing, and it's not like you can just fucking drum up a bit of morale in yourself. Creativity is not something you can force, bro, right? That's why people get writer's block, and I don't really get writer's block when it comes to writing music. It's something that doesn't happen to me. I'm just an endless source of riffs and inspiration. But I do get creative block sometimes when I think about doing this fucking podcast. I think I've got to sit down and just ramble on into a microphone, unhinged, stream of consciousness bullshit again. I don't always have it in me, bro. But you already know that, right? You already know that. I've taken a break. It's been like a fucking month since I dropped an episode. But here I am again, because I caught the flash. My pan got lit, and the glimmer was in my eye, and my hair got color in it again. I was going grey. My balls were grey, but now they're black again. I mean brown. I wouldn't mind having black balls. My balls are black. My pubic hair is brown, and I'm going to turn the rest of my skin grey like an alien, because I'm tired of being on this planet, stuck in this spot, and I want to be taken back out into space so I can do some real cool shit and experiments and check out the new technology in faraway lands and all types of shit, because I'm tired of this fucking purposeless, shitty life that we all live in here on Earth. Even if you're doing well, you got money, you got friends, family, it's still all for nothing, right? We're all going to die, bro. And sometimes it's going to be painful. Sometimes our death is more painful than life itself, but at least it's something that death is fleeting too. Life is fleeting, death is fleeting. In that moment when death comes, it might feel like an eternity, but in reality, most people are going to die, and it's going to take them a shorter amount of time than what they lived. Because it's not like many people spend more time dying. Well, I suppose that's another paradox of life, right? From the moment that you're born, you are actually dying at the same time. So like that's what life is like, a yin and a yang, where life is like living and death is like dying, and they coexist, and there's a little bit of life in death and there's a little bit of death inside of life, right? So yeah, that's what life is like. It's like being in a pan with the flames beneath you, bubbling the oil, slowly cooking you from the outside in, right? It starts with your feet. You're just like, oh, ouch. It's like frogs in a pot, man. You boil it slowly, and they will die because they're too stupid to realize that the climate is changing and that their jacuzzi is turning into their fucking death trap soup, frog soup, bruh. All right? So you don't want to be a frog in this life. You don't want to be a frog, bruh. You want to be another animal. You want to be a higher species of animal. You want to be like a fox. A fox or a monkey. They're both cunning, and like fox is cunning, monkey is intelligent, and birds, they're fast. You want to be a bird. And sometimes I bet there's birds that eat frogs as well. You want to be anything except the frog, except you probably want to be a frog instead of a fly or an insect, because I be seeing like videos of frogs. They be eating those flies and shit, man, with their tongues and stuff. They be crazy, man. Some frogs turn into samurais as well, or ninjas or whatever, and they live under the sewers and they go crazy. That's a 90s cartoon reference right there. Doing really well today, aren't I, guys? I'm doing really well. I'm doing such a great job in my return episode. I don't really want to treat this as a return episode, by the way. I'm just, I'm just getting back into the swing of things, man. Just getting back into the swing of things, because podcasts are a great thing. Podcasts are a really great thing that we all benefit from. It's something that is largely free to access for most people. As long as you got internet connection, right? Then you can usually access a podcast for free. And there's like public internet in most of the world and stuff like that, I guess. Like most of the Western world, most of the developed world got internet, bro. People don't even be thinking about that shit no more. Because podcasts, and I'm glad that podcasts are widely available and free for everyone, because they are one of the very few things that are better than sliced bread, man. They're one of the very few things that are better than sliced bread. Well, actually, now that I think of it, there's probably many things that are better than sliced bread. Like, how about sliced roast beef or a sliced steak? Actually, now that I think of it, most foods, like a sliced pizza, I'd rather take a sliced pizza than a slice of bread, wouldn't you? Like, most things, I'd rather take a sliced up apple, man. How good is an apple, right? How good is eating a sliced apple? But think about this. How good is eating a sliced apple when you weren't the one that sliced it? Someone sliced it for you. You know what I mean? How much better does the apple taste? So, apple's better than sliced bread. Podcast, better than sliced bread. Probably the invention of the car, the airplane, the telephone, internet, electricity. And so there's probably many things better than sliced bread. But at the time, like, can you imagine people before they invented slices? People just like what? Rock up to bring home a loaf of bread and then you just eat. It's like, oh, did you bring a loaf home for everyone? No, I only brought the one loaf. I don't know what to do with it. I guess I'll just have to eat this loaf alone. People just taking loaves around the place. Didn't you ever think to cut the bread? Like, I don't understand. Hasn't sliced bread, like, wouldn't that be one of the first things that you did? Especially if you were living in if you were a breadwinner situation, living life back in the dark ages where you got to work for bread and then you bring bread home, or maybe your wife was cooking bread at home, and like, wouldn't you want to share that bread with the family, right? And then so wouldn't it then follow that the smartest thing to do with the bread would be to slice it so you can share it without getting like your mouths over it? Or you just like pass the loaf around, everyone putting their mittens on the fucking loaf, transferring their germs, and everyone just slobbering and biting onto it with their teeth and smacking their lips and all that type of shit, bro. Back in the 1800s, that's how the bubonic plague got introduced, I'm sure, because rats be crawling over the bread, and then no one slices it, and everyone just touches it, and everyone fucking around with the communal bread loaf that got moldy and got rat infested, and you be getting the bubonic plague, and then you pass it on to the next person because they bite the same loaf that you did, right? Fucking disgusting. Wasn't like sliced bread should have been one of the first things that mankind ever invented, before white water rafting and before whatever else that I was talking about. Sliced bread is the best shit, bro. Okay? I just want to tell you right now that sliced bread is really good. And before, like, if you try to think about, like, what it would have been like before it existed, like, I don't even want to go there. It's traumatizing. It's something that, like, really, it speaks to my soul on a different satanic level. And it's hard for me to process the reality of that type of situation where I can't have bread in buttered slices. What did they do with the butter? Like, did you just, like, imagine getting a loaf of bread and then picking up a stick of butter and just, like, a loaf of bread in one hand, stick of butter in the other hand, and you're just rubbing the stick of butter on the bread? Because, like, you would have to assume that if sliced bread hadn't been invented yet, then they probably weren't slicing butter either. Like, you just got a stick of butter from Coles or whatever, and you just fucking slam that shit, just rub it over whatever the hell you're going to eat it with, right? People at work are getting angry at me because, it's not just people at work, but also my friends and my family. Everyone's getting angry at me. Everyone's angry at me, like, when I don't even do anything, right? I didn't even do anything. In fact, I'm doing less than ever. People talk to me and I don't respond. I can't. Basically, I'm trying to tell you that, like, I don't really, like, people talk to me and I don't respond, okay? And that makes people angry. And they're like, someone thought that I'd taken a vow of silence or an oath of silence, but that's not true. What I actually, because you can hear me now, I'm just chatting away right now. If I had taken an oath of silence, do you think that I'd be able to make this podcast? No. The answer is no. I wouldn't be able to do it because I'd be silent. Duh, okay? But it's not like I've taken an oath of silence. I haven't. It's just that I've just given up on hearing. I don't really hear things anymore. It's just like I don't really do that anymore, right? I just don't do it. I got tired of hearing stuff. It's a constant fucking pressure to, like, perform and listen to stuff. And honestly, like, I feel like I was lacking some of my sovereignty. I was losing some of it. I was losing some of my independence because I had to constantly, you know, be attuned to the situation and my environment around me via the ears. Like, I can close my eyes, right? I can close my eyes and shut out everything that I don't want to see. But when it comes to hearing, it's not like I can just turn that bitch off. I can't just close my ears and give up on the frequencies, man. The frequencies just be entering one way or the other. They're going to get to you. So day, morning, afternoon or night, doesn't matter what it is, those bitches just be cranked up to 100 all the time, just always absorbing, and you can never turn them off. Even when you're asleep, like, you can be woken up by sounds, right? Even when you're asleep, your ears are still turned on. So I just decided, fuck it, man. You know, I'm an individual, man. I'm a strong, independent man, and I don't need no ears to hear with, and I don't need to hear anything ever at all, actually. I don't need to hear anything ever again, and I just don't really want to do that anymore. I mean, I shouldn't say ever again. Like, I probably do want to return to listening to stuff every once in a while, like perhaps a song, a favorite song, or if some crazy world news event goes down, I probably want to hear a news report. I suppose I could always just read an article, right? I could always read an article and then I wouldn't have to go back on my no hearing clause or whatever, my decision, yeah? But yeah, like, you know, just, it's quite liberating as well. And it helps to go with the flow. That's because, like, if I hear things that might fuck with my my mental attitude or the longitude and latitude of my brain, then I might not be so headstrong. Like, if I hear evidence that's contrary to my own opinions, or if I hear, earworms, just basically, you know, it's disruptive, man. Hearing is disruptive, and it's not the way to go. I think that if monks, like the Shaolin monk type guys that are ascetic type monks, or like guys in Plato's cave, or just people that are like searching for enlightenment, right? Then you got to, like, become deaf, at least for a bit. You got to experience sensory deprivation in that matter. Because, like, as I said, you can do it. You can, like, blindfold yourself. You can close your eyes. And I suppose to some degree you can even, like, pack your ears with the shit, so it makes it harder to hear things outside. But you can still hear internally, and you can still just hear. Like, nothing is actually going to, like, 100% block out the sound from entering your eardrums through the ear canal. You know what I'm saying, bro? And I feel like it's somewhat of a curse that's been inflicted upon us. Like, why can I close my eyes so as to never see anything again if I should choose, and to never open them again? But I can't close my ears, or I can't shut that down. If we had 100% control of our bodies and our brains like God intended, then I think that we should be able to, like, shut that shit down, bro. Just switch it off. There should be Like, if I use 110% of my brain, I should be able to turn off the hearing functions, you feel me? And then just be, living in this silent existence where I don't have to hear nothing, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. You know what I'm saying, bro? Case in point. That's the proof is in the pudding right there. And that pudding be fucking baked, bro. That's like a Christmas pudding, bro. Okay? Juicy, flavorful, full of sugar, and full of fruits, okay? And if you don't like it that way, then maybe it's just not for you. Maybe you need to go back to the sliced bread and fuck that shit up, bruh. Because this fruitcake, this Christmas pudding, it ain't for you, all right? If you can't handle the heat, and if you can't handle not hearing, then stay out of the auditory kitchen, bruh. If you can't handle the silence, then get out the studio, man, okay? Because this bitch, it ain't for everyone. And I'm saying that hearing is a curse, but it's not just so easy to just go without hearing either. Because then you can't fucking listen to shit, and people try to communicate with you and like your boss, and they get real angry, right? When you don't reciprocate their demands or whatever, or like join in a conversation. It's like, I can go in a conversation, I can still say stuff because I haven't taken an oath of silence, I haven't taken a vow of silence, there's nothing like that. I can still mumble, I can still murmur, and if I feel like I've got a song in my heart, I can go ahead and sing that. I just can't hear any of it, right? Because I decided not to. I decided that hearing has impacted my life more than without hearing, than silence. Hearing has impacted my life more than silence. And I think we'd just all be better, well, at least me. I'm trying it out. I'm running this experiment for you, and I'll report on the results so everyone can understand exactly what it's like, right? To go into a silent world where you no longer hear, or you're not at the beck and call, literally, right? The beck and call. You're not at the beck and call of fucking David Beckham or Hall & Oates, okay? So fuck that shit. Do what you want, living it up, not giving a fuck, living life in the fast lane. Okay. Jesus. All right. That's about it. That's about it for episode number 48 of the Milo Podcast. Bing bong, bing bong. A real life update. You know what part of my break was, man? I took a break, right? I guess anyone that actually keeps up with, all 10 people who actually keep up with this podcast would have realized that I took a break, right? But prior to that, in the episodes that I had released, like 47, 46, 45, and etc., I had informed you that I was working on an album. Well, that album is complete. It's done. It's out there. It's released. I finished recording, releasing, performing the music. It's out. It's done. It's dusted, right? So that was one of the things that actually took my attention and focus from the podcast just for a little while, so I could wrap that bitch up, finish it, and put a bow on it, and send it away to the fucking streaming site. So it's now on Spotify, iTunes, Apple, YouTube, and all that type shit. Search for Milo PKL, Hope in the Grave. Hope in the Grave. That's what it's called. Other than that, real life updates, dude, nothing cool has happened. Life is like a box of chocolates, except it's the same box of chocolates that your fiance or your significant other gets you every single year. Life is like a box of chocolates, but those chocolates are Cadbury favorites, and so you know exactly what the fuck you're gonna get, and it's the same shit over and over and over again, no matter what the hell happens, right? So that's what my life is like. And I'm not interested in anything that's happening on Earth right now. I don't give a fuck about Israel. I don't give a fuck about Palestine, Austin. I don't give a fuck about, what else is happening right now? Nothing. I don't care about anything, okay? I don't care about nothing. I don't care about anything. So, with no further ado, I'm going to put a bow on this bitch right now. Oh. My nose just started bleeding. Torrentially. My left nostril just started bleeding. I could feel the warm sensation, and now there's blood on me. There's blood on my nose because I've been raving on like a fucking lunatic for half an hour. So I'm going to wrap this bitch up. Thanks again for joining me at episode number 48 of the Milo Podcast. If bing bong, if you're listening on YouTube, you know what to do, tube. If I want you to like, comment, leave a comment saying, "Hey Milo," and I will go down and like your comment, and I'll heart your comment, and I'll respond. And subscribe, like, comment, subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify, you're that guy. You can interact with the poll. You can like the podcast. You must do that. It's the most important thing in the world is to rate the podcast out of 5 and give it a 5, okay? Now, other than that, I guess that's about it. So I'll see you in the next episode. And remember, if you still have a dream, you must be asleep.
The Milo Experience.
Here's me. I want to give you some good frequencies. 172, 2.6, 2,245.
Yeah.
3,032, 400.
Ice caps melt, that's bad for our health. What we gonna do when we underneath the swell? When the tides rise underneath blue skies, there's water where there used to be a mountainside. How do I react when I'm trapped in 9 to 5? This is not the life for me, but we gotta survive some way. Quality of life is determined by your pay. Gotta bust out the system, give your spirit a raise. We a slave most days, and we're burning up the planet at the final stage since we lost our ways. Feeling the same, it's week after week. Jingle bells, trick or treat. Valentine's or St. Pat's in the street. But most times we don't see eye to eye, we don't see cheek to cheek. Falling through life as we feel incomplete, ayy. There's not a lot of empathy, but there's a lot of misplaced sympathy. Mankind is whimpering, pollution by littering. The flame on the wick and the stick is flickering. It won't be long before it has extinguished. Anguished faces of angels, tilted by 6-degree angles. Chewed up, I'm masticated, numb to society, we're quietly domesticated. The future looks dim, bitch, you ask me how I feel. I don't feel nothing, bitch, I just keep it real. I don't feel nothing and the symptoms are terminal. I think I feel sick and I think it's irreversible. Ask me how I feel, bitch, I don't feel nothing. Ask me how I feel, bitch, I don't feel nothing. Ask me how I feel, bitch, I don't feel nothing. Ask me how I feel, bitch, ayy. Enter life a bastard, tasteless, faceless, and I can't escape this. Everything is sexist, racist. I know what I said and your interpretation has no basis. Police dialogue shut down the discussion. Dissent is repressed, no sign of malfunction. Gotta stay busy, Milo always doing something. Free my mind from the grid that you plugged in. Ay, I was on the team, but I was never subbed in. Feel invisible, like I have no substance. I was at war with the psyops. Nuclear winter got us turned into ice blocks. Drop 200 on a Reebok high tops. Discounts the only thing that I cop. Minding my business, walking my ass to the bus stop. Just a bystander in the backdrop. The city mimics the mentality. It's scraped against the sky, building stand with brutality. People stacked up a couple thousand high, crushed pancake flat with the gravity. Alternative facts have attacked our reality, and no one really knows what's happening. Divide and conquer, they came, they saw. Preying on the weak like a cannibal or a carnivore. Ay. The future looks dim, bitch, you ask me how I feel. I don't feel nothing, bitch, I just keep it real. I don't feel nothing and the symptoms are terminal. I think I feel sick and I think it's irreversible. Ask me how I feel, bitch, I don't feel nothing. Ask me how I feel, bitch, I don't feel nothing. Ask me how I feel, bitch, I don't feel nothing.